here on SportsCenter. All right, Tim, so Sunday wraps up week 1 of the NFL preseason. And as usual, so much attention on the rookie quarterbacks making their preseason debuts. For what you saw, what stood out to you, maybe the best moments from this class?
You know, I would just say this to start. I would say I think it was generally a positive experience for all of the quarterbacks. You know, it was uneventful for Drake May, sure, but I think you definitely saw the explosiveness of Caleb Williams. You saw J.J. McCarthy's athletic ability take over. We saw Bo Nix do some really good things offensively. And I think Jayden Daniels probably be the guy that stuck out to me the most. Gets an explosive play in the passing game. And then, you know, we've heard so much, you know, in terms of the comparison to how electric he can be with the ball in his hands as a runner, get down in the red zone as a walk-in touchdown. So I think that the takeaway is that Jayden Daniels certainly looked comfortable. That was definitely a bright spot in terms of the rookie quarterbacks, but ultimately probably a pretty good debut for all of them.
That throw, guys, that is not an easy throw. And to me, what that also shows is also confidence. That's been such my theme for evaluating all of these these young rookie quarterbacks. And it's what type of level of reassurance can we see? Because preseason games are so limited in scope of what we can draw from them, because it's preseason, right? Like, and he went, what'd he throw? 3 times? Like, you know, it's just, everything's so narrow, and anyone can look good in such a narrow window, especially when are you going up against, you know, all the starters, not first, second, third string? Are you going up against people who are never even going to make a roster spot in the first place? So it's so limited in scope. But here's what I loved about Jayden Daniels' preseason debut is that he was unafraid. There's a difference between confidence and being unafraid. Sometimes you could not be confident and still have moments of being unafraid. And usually that's where things can kind of go bad, right? When you're unafraid, but you lack that confidence, that's when, you know, you see some of those, you know, people who are just kind of, there's a word that I want to say, but I don't want to say it in this video. So I'm like trying to figure out how to better say it, because I don't want this video to get like flagged for something completely different, because it's a word that's often used, but that's why I'm kind of fumbling over my words. But you have a lot of quarterbacks that can throw like a ton of interceptions because they're fearless, but they're not confident to take what the game gives them. Right? Just because someone's willing to throw the ball down the field again and again and again doesn't make them confident necessarily, because also it's like it shows kind of an imbalance of when you should be confidently make an easier decision, a shorter throw, checking the ball down, whatever it may be. But to me, when you're going to make that throw in your preseason debut, Jayden Daniels is not dumb. The Commanders right now are no longer dumb with their coaching staff. They know what's at stake. They know that if he ends up throwing an interception, or if he overthrows ball short, whatever it may be, that's going to linger on Jayden for the next week, if not for the next few weeks, until he can finally get out in a real game. It's got the potential to fester. It's not that easy when there's such limited information. Like, look what we're talking about here. Look what we're using to evaluate these quarterbacks that then just gets hit in a news cycle over and over and over again. So make no mistake about it, that ball gets intercepted. That's all that people will just really drill down on that and say, what was Cliff Kingsbury doing? Why did they put him in that situation? He should have never even been out there in the first place. What type of throw is that? You know, to put the rookie quarterback in that position, blah, 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 right? We could spin it negatively again and again and again. But the fact that there was confidence that not only do we trust that he's going to make that throw, but that it's also going to be successful. To me, and again, I don't want to just lock in on just one singular throw, but that's what I try to do for preseason. I try to focus. I really try to zoom in rather than zoom out. Most of the time, I always like to zoom out. But for preseason, I'm looking for just tiny little nuggets to be like, what is this? What can we draw from this conclusion? And to me, that's what I'm able to draw, is not only the confidence, but then also the fearlessness and the trust that they have behind Jayden. And again, you have to be confident to be able to make that throw and be confident that you can deal with the repercussions afterwards. But then you also have to be fearless to be able to actually do that in your debut. Like, how many snaps did it take for him to even do that? I'm not even honestly sure at this point. I forget. So it's just, there's a level of fearlessness that I think is great, especially when we talk about mobile quarterbacks. The reason why I also really want to emphasize this is because mobile quarterbacks who can kind of move around, is that usually their fearlessness comes from being able to run around, right? They can bail themselves out. If anything kind of goes wrong, they just know, I can just run around in circles. I can rip off for a 25-yard rush, right? Like, you have that. We can see that with Lamar Jackson. When things kind of start to get crazy, Lamar's way of being fearless is to just run, is to just book it. When the going gets tough, he books it. And he does it very well. That's not a knock at Lamar, but it can keep you a little bit more one-dimensional. We saw that, and again, I do blame the coaching staff for this, but we saw that in the Ravens versus the Chiefs playoffs game. There was nowhere to see Lamar to be able to overcome that. Especially when he wasn't running or couldn't run or felt limited, there was nowhere for him to now step up and be confident with the ball, to throw the ball down the field and be fearless. It was kind of just like, I'm going to be fearless and just kind of throw it, but it was not a confident throw, and then boom, it gets intercepted. It was just kind of like, I kind of hope I get bailed out. Because at any moment, a quarterback can just kind of launch it, and then it's like, all right, what are the main options that can happen? They're not going to catch it, they're going to catch it, or it's going to be intercepted, right? Like, something has to happen. So it's just like kind of like a 1 in 3 chance, I guess, under that logic. And I just think with Jayden, to already potentially make your game, and this is what I said in a few earlier videos about Jayden Daniels, is to try to make the foundation of your game your actual passing game. What you can do as a quarterback beyond just mobility. And when you make a throw like that in your preseason debut, I just think it can't get any better than that, right? That, to me, that just sets the tone of, I'm a quarterback. I'm not just an athletic guy. I'm not just a guy that's just going to run around in circles. Because there was all that debate of like, will they preserve him? He's a little bit smaller. He's a little bit thinner. What will they do? They don't want him to get injured? This, that, and the third. The sooner that you prove to not only the team but the coaching staff, because they don't know. Even though the coaching staff has seen what he can do, they don't actually see what he can do within the Commander's uniform. It is different. When you're watching other film and other tape, you do have to kind of reprove yourself, especially to the coaches, to be like, what can we do with you? When you're looking at Cliff Kingsbury, he has to have a deep, deep understanding. Who are you as a quarterback? I can watch film and watch those games all day, but I need to see it in person. Who are you as a quarterback? What are the plays that we can draw up for you? What are the type of throws that you can make? What can we do? Because from that now becomes our game plan of now when we are playing the Eagles, the Cowboys, the whoever, we know what we can do to attack those defenses. And to me, he just kind of put the league on notice, as in like, look what I can do. That's the way I kind of see it, is look what I can do. Because make no mistake about it, this is a fearless,
athletic,
confident throw to make. And again, I don't want to just get too hyper-focused on just one play, but I just don't think it could be understated that your average quarterback in this situation is just not making. That is such an unbelievable throw. Such an unbelievable throw. And I think we take something as small as that for granted. And considering it was his first true moment in the NFL like that, where lots of people are going to be watching and everyone's going to be talking about it for this week until the next, it's a big boy play. It's a big boy moment. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Are you excited to see what you saw from Jayden? Is it too small, narrow of a sample size? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, Either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.